Hey guys, we're going to read the story, The Steam Engine, and I'm going to read it aloud to you, and we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to focus in on what the main idea is and why. Why does the author write this, right? So we'll talk about that as we go. This is in an ed puzzle, so there'll be some questions embedded along the way, and then you're also going to answer questions on a Google form. So take a look. Here are the questions that we're going to talk about on this book right here, The Steam Engine. Look at this. This is really cool. Right? We're going to learn about the steam engine, right? So let's take a look though at this Google form. So one of the questions that is asked is, what is the main idea of this book, right? Remember, what is the one general topic that we're talking about, right? And then what about that topic? What are they trying to tell you about, right? I think you will get that as we read, as we go along. And the other questions are, check this out. It says, which of these statements about James Watt are true? Check all that apply. Remember that if they're square, see those over there, right there? If they're square, not circle choices, that means there's probably more than one correct answer, right? Maybe all of them are correct. You have to read through each answer choice and see, is this true about James Watt? And if it is, you'll check it. All right, and then the last one, what effect did high pressure steam engines have on trains? All right. What affected those engines? How did they change the train? So let's read and find out. The steam engine. Take a look at that picture right there. Look at these old guys here. Look at that. That's something. Wow. That is a crazy picture. All right. So it says an invention that changed the world. Right. And remember, we talked about text features. Right. So what are these called right here? Remember what we called these? Right. So that'll be a question on your um, ed puzzle. So here we go. Let's get to it. An invention that changed the world. For thousands of years, people used their muscles for work. They also used animals to help them. In the 1700s, the invention of the steam engine changed everything. People began to make fewer goods by hand. Instead, they used machines. Many of those machines were powered by steam. What is steam? Have you ever watched someone boil water in a pot on a stove? Sometimes you can see a little cloud above the pot. That's steam. It can only be seen when it hits cooler air. Steam is a gas. People make steam do work by boiling water. They heat up the water in a gigantic pot called a boiler. They make the boiler hot by burning fuel such as coal. Burning coal becomes hotter than the top of the stove, a lot hotter. The heat boils the water and makes steam. Steam takes up more room than liquid water. As the steam expands, it pushes the movable parts of a machine. The movement of those parts creates power. Look at this guy down here in a coal mine. Coal mines, such as this one, stayed dry thanks to Newcomb's steam engine, right? So they didn't have to hose the steam off the wall like with high powered hoses. They had machines to do that. The first real steam engines, almost 300 years ago in 1712, Thomas Newcomb built a steam engine. Others had built steam engines, but Newcomb's was the first to work really well. He used his steam engine to run a water pump, which pumped water out of coal mines. Miners could then reach more coal. The engine had one problem. It needed a large amount of coal to do a small amount of work. Steam engine improvements. So what do you think we're going to learn here? Right, we're going to learn all the ways that someone improved on the steam engine. And I bet his name is James Watt. Let's see. In the 1760s, a Scotsman, James Watt, improved Newcomb's engine. He made the machine work with less coal. He also made other kinds of steam engines. He made one called the rotary or circular steam engine. It could run all kinds of machines. This invention was one event that led to the Industrial Revolution, also known as the Age of Steam. The age of steam brought new ways to do work and new ways for people and goods to travel. See, he's got a train on there and a boat, a machine that looks like it's doing textiles. Yeah, it looks good. Looks pretty. But look at this one over here. It's a big steam powered machine. High pressured engines. At the beginning of the age of steam, Watt's steam engine used low pressure steam. His steam engines were big and they operated or worked slowly. Watt knew he could make smaller and faster steam engines, but he would have to use high pressure steam. He was against the idea. Higher pressure could cause a boiler to explode. An explosion could injure or kill people. Look at these. Steam powered train. Yeah, look at this. Many inventors saw the danger of high pressure steam. They built high pressure steam engines anyway. They thought that smaller engines could be used to do more things. In the early 1800s, Richard Trevithick built a high pressure steam engine in England. High pressure steam engines soon became common. They could be used to power trains. Steam powered transportation. See that train over there? Trevithick built one of the first steam locomotives, or trains, in 1804. It hauled coal at a factory. Other people also built train engines. Soon, these engines were pulling long lines of cars with passengers or goods. Steam engines helped railroads spread across the world. In the early 1800s, ships also began to use steam. Some sailed on the oceans. New Yorker Robert Fulton built the first money-making river steamboat in 1807. By the mid-1800s, beautiful steamboats traveled up and down America's rivers. River steamboats presented the danger that James Watt had warned about. Steam explosions sometimes happened with locomotives, but they were common with steamboats. Many people were injured or killed in steamboat accidents. One of the worst disasters in American history took place on April 27, 1865. The boiler on the crowded steamboat Sultana exploded. The ship burned. More than 1,700 people died. The age of steam draws to a close. By the early 1900s, people had found ways to replace steam power. In factories, electricity now ran most machines. Electric engines did not produce steam or smoke. Electric engines made subways and streetcars easy for everyday use. It became easier to travel around a city. The diesel engine also doomed the steam engine. It ran better and could go farther and faster. Steam locomotives ran in the United States until the 1960s. By then, almost all locomotives had diesel engines. Modern use of steam. Although the age of steam is long over, steam is still important. For instance, power plants use it to produce electricity. It powers your lights and your television. So it says right here, so what do we call this? Remember we called this something the other day when I was teaching you text features. What is this little guy here called? Right? All right. So it says how much coal per family. Power plants burn thousands of pounds of coal every year to provide power for just one U.S. household. Appliance, water heater, 3,000 pounds. Electric stove, 560 pounds. Television, 256 pounds. Lights, 4,000 pounds of coal. Wow, that's interesting. That's per one family. Something to think about. Some people believe there is still a need for steam power. Steam power, they say, costs less than diesel fuel or for trains. Steam power can also be generated using solar panels, which do not use fossil fuels like coal to make electricity. That makes steam power better for the environment than it is now. Steam power is useful and will probably have a place in the modern world. All right, let's go over the glossary real quick. A boiler, a large tank used to store heated water. Diesel, adjective, relating to a heavy petroleum product used as fuel in large vehicles such as trucks and buses. Expands, becomes larger in size, amount, or volume. Explode, to blow up or burst with a sudden release of energy. Invention, a new device or process. Locomotives, vehicles that act as large engines to pull or push railroad cars along tracks. Power, energy that can be used to do work. Pressure, physical force placed on an object. And steam engine, a type of machine with moving parts that uses steam power to create motion. Okay, so we've read the book. You're done. You can go back through and read it on your own because I have the um, PDF file so you can read it again. You can reread. And I want you guys to go ahead and answer the questions here. Okay? All right. Good luck. Tadero out.